What's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Gen X Army Vet here. And Snoop Dogg, he has made the headlines recently because of something he said, a conversation that he was having on a podcast about when him and his grandson went to a movie theater. And apparently a lot of people took what he said, like little sound bites and snippets, and they're trying to make it into something that is not what it actually is. Him just having a time with his kid or grandkid trying to enjoy a movie. And a lot of people took it out of context and they're trying to make or spread an agenda through what he said. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Light?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz, the Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
With Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people, especially for this particular movie, he wasn't expecting none of this to pop up out of nowhere. And that's a lot of the issues that people have these days. You know, people that are heterosexual, who just want to go watch a movie or just watch a TV show, you know, just sit down, you go watch something, all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, it comes, okay, so little, you know, homosexual activity going on. And you're like, you're supposed to just sit there and take it. Understandably, now, you know, everybody has their voice. Everybody wants to be seen and heard and recognized in society. I get that. But he wasn't expecting this. He was trying to just sit and watch a movie, you know, make memories with his grandson. And then they're pretty much forcing him to have to explain some things to a little kid that most likely wasn't ready for that, you know. But people are taking it, oh, you know, there's other types of families going on in the world. We know that. But that's one of the last places he was expecting to have to explain something like that.
I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with.
See, he's trying to avoid it. You know, yes, he's a grown-ass man. He's in his 50s. He can explain in detail, you know, what's going on. But when you're speaking to a, you know, 5, 6, 7-year-old kid that hasn't been exposed to that yet, now he's being forced. You know, there's the left is trying to force him to explain certain things to his kid. You know, could he wait till he got older? Yeah, you know, because he's going to see it when he gets older. But at a young age, if, you know, the family's been raised in a certain way, you know, and then you're forcing this upon your kid, then he has to come out and say some stuff. And then, like I said, the liberal media is just going to pop up and try to use that as ammo. And now they're trying to cancel Snoop.
So it's like, fuck me, I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for.
And even that part right there, he said he's scared to go to the movies and shit. You know, they took that part and tried to make it like, oh, Snoop Dogg is homophobic now. You know, they throw this word around homophobia, you know, and it's not a real word. You know, phobia is a scare or a fear of something. I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg, being a mature adult, is not scared of someone who's a homosexual. But of course, you know, they try to make a word, combine words together to make it sound, oh, you have this fear of being around gay people. You know, same thing like the whole fat phobia thing, you know, and the xenophobia thing, when it's not the case. It's just people have preferences. And these days, we're not allowed to have preferences. You know, because I'm sure Snoop Dogg probably has some people of the LGBT community in his family, as do many people around the world, as do I. I have people in my family. I'm not scared of them, not one bit. You know, they're family. We love them just the same. It's like, I may not agree with certain things they do, but besides that point, you know, we still get along. We're family. You know, nothing's going to take that away.
Threw me for a loop. These are kids that we have to show that at this age, like,
that part.
They're going to ask questions.
Yeah.
They are going to ask. I don't have the answer.
And yeah, like, and people like let's get in the comments. Some of these comments say, okay, you could explain adoption, IVF, you know, certain things like that. But at the time when he's just there in one mode watching the movie with his kid or his grandkid, I was like, bam, Now he's expected to explain that off the fly. Not a lot of people think of stuff like that. Because he was in shock that it happened, and he's in shock like, oh, I got to explain this to my grandson all of a sudden. Like, how am I supposed to do this? But people are running with it, trying to make him look like he's a bad guy. Let's see what these comments got to say. His grandson did not ask nothing of him. You know? Some families have 2 moms or 2 dads. You'll learn more about that when you're older. That easy. You know, okay, it's easy to critique him now. But at the time, when, like I say, when he's watching the movie, he's not thinking of stuff like that. You know? Snoop Dogg has turned into a maggot, Calvin. You know, now they're trying to shame him. They call him a MAGA. It's just a thing about explanation. He didn't know how to explain it right then and there because he wasn't thinking about that. Then people normalize it. You cannot shield children for the real world. Just say families come in different fonts. Okay, again, people are saying this now after the fact. They had time to think about what they want to say and type it behind the keyboard. These people are saying stuff and bashing it behind the keyboard on a computer. You know, they're real tough like when they do stuff like that, but they wouldn't confront him face to face. Has Snoop ever heard of adoption? Remember when Calvin made a movie performing for Trump? Then Calvin was invited to the big house and sing and dance. See, it's no matter what they do. You know, it's like the person's he's an entertainer. He's trying to entertain. You know, you get paid to do stuff like that. Here he is with a harmless, you know, time outing with his grandson, and he's expected to be able to handle the situation. You know, a lot of people, they handle things worse. Or think about when children, sons, daughters come out as gay to family members that are, you know, that Southern upbringing, you know, there's a belief in one way, you know, religious background. All of a sudden, your kid comes out and says this. How is that person supposed to handle it? You know, bam, out of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're like, accept me how I am. Some people, they don't know how to act, so they don't talk to them, or they'll shun them, or they'll push them away, you know, or they'll disown them. You know, people do way worse things. But he's expected, because he's in the limelight, he's a celebrity, he's expected to handle things just perfectly. Not everybody's able to do stuff like that. Now, I grew up in the South. I remember this sort of bigotry when the Jefferson was airing. You know, the Willis biracial couple had the bigotry surface. Truly pathetic for the 21st century. Again, they're misjudging him. You know, how does he not have the answer for that? Remember, he performed for the Trump administration. I agree with him. They hate on bro for making sense. Just say like he adopted a kid. I have to have silence and move on. You know, they're coming at this man. They're trying to crucify him. They're trying to cancel him for things that, you know, just out of the blue, he's expected just to know. It's ridiculous to me.
I'm gonna need Snoop Dogg to be so fucking for real right now. So there's a clip of an interview that Snoop Dogg is doing going around where he was like, I took my son to the light buzz.
And she's like, we can make an assumption about her right now. You can see what she's wearing, how she's dressed, you know, the nose ring. You know, we can automatically say she's probably LGBTQ. You know, but do we judge like that? No. Those that are mature, we take the content, what you're saying, okay, you listen to it, you know, understand it, and then we make assumptions. People just basing what they say off of, you know, little sound bites of what he said. That's ridiculous to me.
Whatever Toy Story movie that's out, and it had 2 women kissing, and somehow he just could not explain. And
she doesn't even know the movie that's out. She just probably heard from someone who else heard from somebody who posted it online. And, oh, this is what Snoop said. Oh, let me run a TikTok. Let me say something. Now, I watched a couple of videos on this to get a better understanding. I remember when this movie came out back in 2020. It was 2022. I saw the previews in 2021 when he's like, oh, this is coming. You know, when I heard about it, you know, you can either watch it or don't watch it. You know, I heard about the reviews. I'm like, okay, it's not one I want to watch. You know, I have a preference. You know, heterosexual male, if I choose not to indulge in something like that, I could do that. But have I indulged in certain other, you know, genre? Yeah, there's video games I play. There's gay people in it a lot, you know, all the time. Black, white, you know, certain, you know, biracial couples. You know, like The Last of Us 2. You know, that was a controversial video game. I actually enjoyed that video game.
That gay people exist. This man is upset because he had to explain that people who are not straight exist, as if that was a difficult thing for him to do.
See? As if that was a difficult thing for him to do. At the time, probably in his present state, you know, not even thinking about it because he was completely focused on the movie and his grandson. And all of a sudden, he's expected to explain, you know, sexual preferences. Like I said, it's being forced on people all the time. You know, a lot of people, you know, they don't care for it. You know, sure, you could do that, but you know, just keep it over there. I don't care. Just when you come talk to me, we're going to interact this way. I don't care to know about your sexual orientation. It seems like these days, that's what that community, they think about it 24/7. It's always forcing it on you.
This is the type of weaponized incompetence that has allowed
Weaponized competence.
anti-LGBTQ, anything anti-gay to exist as long as it has. Because for
Anti-gay. He wasn't being anti-gay. Again, taking what he said, probably from somebody else, and trying to make it into something that actually wasn't.
some reason, people want to act like gay people don't exist. And then they're like, well, don't shove it down my throat. Even though every single movie and every single cartoon made centers heterosexual love stories.
But that's normal though. Heterosexuality, that's been the norm ever since the beginning of the time. You know, like it's just recently where, you know, it's starting to come now where we've accepted it over the past couple, you know, probably 20, 30 years now. But now what's come about? Now I'm a pansexual. I'm a xenosexual. I'm like whatever color sexual. You know, we're expected to know all this stuff and how to deal with it. It's ridiculous to me. Let's see what these comments have to say. So it's okay for his grandson to watch that in a kid's movie. Exactly. You know, it's probably something he wasn't even expecting. Now, bam. And we said it. We did it. Now explain it to your kid. I'm like, what? You know, he's probably shocked when he first seen the two women kiss, and then they seen the kid. Now he actually explained all that in a matter of seconds. Snoop Dogg said he didn't want to be thrown into the middle of what exactly? Why does your grandson not know other families exist? Because they probably don't preach that. They probably don't force that in his household. You know, because like you said, he's a grandfather. So he probably has a son. Obviously has his heterosexual son with a, you know, daughter-in-law that they probably practice, you know, old school, you know, sexuality, you know, upbringing. And now they're forced to explain certain things that they weren't expecting. Crazy. My kid knew by kindergarten, that other families exist, other religions exist, other people exist. That's obvious. You know, other religions, other types of people, other, you know, ethnicities. Oh, that's basics. But no one's expecting you to understand the sexualities at such a young age. See, the right doesn't force that. It's the left with the books in school at early age, telling kids how to, you know, coaching you through how to, you know, perform sexual, you know, oral sexual activities on each other. School age, mind you. It's ridiculous. He's on the sly, trying to work his way into the Mac community since we all turned our back on him for taking a check from the devil in the White House. Absolutely hilarious. Phew, folks are mad. MAGA pro. I wouldn't even classify this as weaponized incompetence. It's really just hate. Okay, see, it's really just hate. You see how they like to take people's words and twist them? That is ridiculous. I don't know. And weaponized incompetence.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Lightyear?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz.
Not that one. You know it's a regular Toy Story. Let me go that back again.
Not that one, but
the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's called
with
Lightyear.
Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. I didn't come in for this. I just came to watch the goddamn movie.
See? That's how the conversation played out. I didn't come here for this shit. I just wanted to watch the goddamn movie. And people are taking that and trying to say it's hate. You can't make this shit up.
Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with.
Nonsense.
So it's like, I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit I don't have an answer for.
See? That's the conversation he's explained in its entirety. But yet they take it, they chop it up, they try to twist it into something, you know? Ridiculous.
What?
Snoop got to answer for that.
Yeah.
He's just being politically correct to the woke left.
He ain't said the answer. He gave his shot.
I know.
My son in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie.
Surprise, surprise. The Rainbow Mafia and liberals are pissed off again. Yeah, they're calling Uncle Snoop a homophobe. And I'm kind of feeling like they're missing the entire point. Y'all are literally the only motherfuckers that think about sexual orientation
That's what I'm saying.
24/7, 365 days out of the damn year.
Just think about it. You don't see heterosexuals rock around. I'm a heterosexual man. I'm a heterosexual woman. They don't lead with that. No matter where they go, they don't lead with that. We just exist. Like I said, I got family members that are part of that community, and they know I don't badge them or nothing about it, but they don't lead with that either. Let me caveat. But that's the community. I'm here in Washington, Washington State, Seattle. And that's what they lead with. You could be out in public doing everything. You see, it's always the banners, always some type of, protest going on. It's ridiculous.
Snoop Dogg, like most heterosexual people, just wanted to take the kiddo to see a damn movie. Make a family memory or two.
That's what I said.
He doesn't want to have to explain someone's sexuality to his grandchild. And it has absolutely nothing to do with being homophobic. Hell, we don't even want to talk to our own kids about heterosexual sex.
Exactly. My kids are grown. There's certain things you say, you suggest, but they're grown. You're going to figure things out. We learned about it when I was, I'm a Gen Xer here. I learned about this stuff in middle school, going into high school, sex ed, health, that particular class that everyone goes through back in the day. Now it's just, it's on the internet. You can see that they put this stuff in regular cartoons on television now. Like the Dora Explorers, all other types of TV shows is going on right now. It was in Transformers. How you going to have a non-binary robot? Think about that. They're robots. Oh, we got male robots. We got female robots. Let's make a non-binary robot. What the fuck?
Y'all may enjoy talking about sex with your children, but we don't. That shit is awkward and uncomfortable. I don't want my boys to know that mama was bending it over and backing it up and that's how their asses got here. No, we just want to go to the movie and see Buzz Lightyear.
You said mama's fucking busting it down for a real one. Oh my God. Let's see what these comments got to say. I'm sick of the wokeness being thrown in my face. I agree with Snoop. Totally agree with Snoop. I'm sick of it. My kids are sick of it. Yep, I agree with Snoop. Exactly. This is visual your kids didn't expect. Exactly. You're just out there just chilling. All of a sudden, bam. Now you as an adult have to explain that to a kid on the fly. And people are taking that little innocent moment that they were trying to have, twisting it, and trying to make him a bad guy. Trying to cancel him. Crazy. You say, but isn't Snoop a lib? I'm with old Snoop. Just a warning label on things. Exactly. If you want to voice stuff like that, what they could do in the future is start putting, the whole PG-13, all this other stuff. They can start putting this may have content based on LGBTQ, hypermasculine, whatever you want to call it, domestic violence, whatever you want to call it. They should start putting that on the front. So you go to the movie theater or when you go buy tickets, you can see the warnings and maybe we shouldn't watch this, But I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's my comments on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment down below. Like, share, subscribe. How you feel about it? Should Snoop be canceled? Was Snoop right? Why they crucifying him for him having an innocent moment with his kid? And he explained on the fly because he wasn't thinking. He was just not thinking about the type of movie he's going to watch. Go watch a movie, innocent with his grandkid. All of a sudden, this is what he has to do. Like I said, I'd like to know your comments. Comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll catch you next video. Peace.